Today I wanted to talk about some of the spiritual teachers that I have found that have, boy, peace of mind is such a huge deal. And I would say over a year ago, I especially started really pursuing where could I, who do I want to listen to? What do I want to learn from? And a lot of it I got from watching the Oprah Winfrey Network because, goodness gracious, I think the woman should be nominated for a Nobel Prize, first of all, because, by the way, forgive me, no makeup today, but at least I'm getting the video done. That's one reason I haven't gotten them done, is because I wasn't wearing makeup, so to heck with it. Anyway, if you watch the Oprah Winfrey Network, I think it's $2.79 on DirecTV, cable, of course it depends on your cable operator, but fabulous entertainment, particularly on Sundays, really good stuff. And just about every spiritual teacher that I hear about from anyone, I go Google it or look it up on YouTube or something, and Oprah's already been there. She's interviewed them for radio or for the magazine or for her on her show or something. It's amazing. I mean, she's so seeking. Anyway. So the teachers that, if you haven't heard of them and you're interested in things, for being in the here and now, the best was Eckhart Tolle. And man, I got his audiobooks, 2 of them, and for a long time that was what I did all the time. I as a helpful thing, I listened to them through the night. In other words, I would go to sleep to them. The mind is still, the ears are a mechanical device, and they will still absorb the information. And I also listened to it during the day, and then I would wake up at night, and it would be amazing. I would be right at a part that was really important for me to get. Wake up, go to the bathroom, go back to bed. And I slept quite well listening to that. And his voice in particular is calming. So Eckhart Tolle, for being in the here and now, that was the first big piece that allowed me to come to peace. Speaking of peace and pieces, and spelled 2 different ways, Iyanla Vanzant, whose new show on OWN starts tonight, September 15th. By the way, today is my 12th birthday of sobriety. Anyway, Iyanla Vanzant is amazing. She has a book called Peace from Broken Pieces, and P-E-A-C-E, from Broken Pieces. Amazing, true. You can tell that she's really saying a lot of stuff that's not fun to say, calling herself on a lot of thoughts and behaviors that didn't work for her, but that she learned from, and came out of a childhood. Mine was troubled. Hers was troubled. Hers was, they were similar in some ways, and in some ways I think hers was tougher, for sure. And then she lost a daughter to cancer when her daughter was in her 20s, and dealing with that. Relationship issues that I think we all deal with. I did in particular. And I think when you grow up in a family where you're taught, or where what you learn is that you're not valued, it's hard to become an adult who will value yourself. And you can hear her make that transition in her life, and she still struggles with it. If you watch some of the recent interviews that she's done with Oprah about their rift and stuff, you can still see Iyanla Vanzant struggle with that. She allows her humanness to come forward, and it's remarkable. Debbie Ford was another big spiritual teacher for me last year and early this year, dealing with the shadow self, which was a shadow is an aspect of us. Dr. Carl Jung talked about it, and the shadow is that those parts of us that we don't want to be there. We don't like. We want to deny them and push them down. And what happens when you do that? They will come up bigger than life when they come up. She does an analogy, and it's in a DVD that she does as well. It's like trying to hold beach balls underwater. And, maybe when you're young, you're strong enough to do that. But when you get a little older, it's not such an easy thing to do anymore. And it never works anyway. Another great spiritual teacher recently, I'm probably skipping, there's Wayne Dyer, of course, Tony Robbins, of course, Bishop T.D. Jakes, from the Oprah Winfrey Show, from the Oprah Winfrey Network. some of his stuff is a little too fundamental for me, but I was surprised. I watched one of the Oprah Live classes, or perhaps it was Super Soul Sunday. I get them mixed up in my mind. And I was expecting to be a little put off by some of the fundamentalist, what I would call fundamentalist religion stuff. And I wasn't at all. I thought this is a man who really has a lot to say. And I don't remember specifically what my lessons were from him, but I remember that I wrote some of them down because I thought this is important stuff for me to remember. Clearly I don't remember now, but I know it's integrated with everything else. She has had a number of people on. Another that recently, Michael Singer, who wrote a book called The Untethered Soul. And man, it's some very basic, simple tools about how to recognize what your mind will do, the thoughts that will come into your mind, the concept that you are not your thoughts, and just be aware of what you're. See, I used to think this was just alcoholic stuff. Because in AA, people would talk about the alcoholic thinking and stuff. And I would think that all of that negative garbage that came out of my head was either because of my childhood and my upbringing, or because, and that prepared me for alcoholism. Alcohol was my answer for a while until it didn't work anymore. This is human. I did not know that this was not just alcoholics and not just addicts and so forth. This is human stuff. Michael Singer addresses that, and he talks about how the mind will work on us, and he gives you some really specific things, tools and ideas as to how to recognize it, what to do with it. The same day that I bought Michael Singer's book, I also from Oprah, I got Cheryl Strayed's book on I can't think of the name of it now. Well, when she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. And the entire book, she's weaving through her life stories as a metaphor for what this journey meant to her. She did it in her mid to late 20s. I think she was 26. And she had lost her mother, and it was a very tough loss for her, and her stepfather kind of went another direction, and so she felt like she lost the only father she had known too. So remarkable story, and humorous in many places, and definitely inspiring. And in another book about the same day, Jill Bolte Taylor's book, also from the Oprah show, and I'd seen her on a TED Talk. She's the Harvard brain scientist who had a stroke and was aware at the time she was having it that she was having a stroke. I mean, she's observing it as the person having a stroke and as the brain scientist having a stroke, and so it was really something, and what happened was it wiped out the entire left side of her brain, and the left side is the side where all of that, as I understand it, the guilt, remorse, the jealousy, the ego is over there, and it wiped that out. And she eventually got it back, but she got to experience life fully working from the right brain, which was nirvana and peace and being in the now. And the fact that would happen to a brain scientist who could then articulate what it was like, remarkable. And my favorite is the last hour of her audiobook, a little over an hour, because I think it's chapters 16, 17, 18, 19, or 17, 18, 19, and where she gets very specific about how to deal with these things and what to do, again, with the thoughts, and with when the left brain wants to chime in, and essentially cause trouble. And so these are all things that have brought me peace in the midst of, divorce and betrayal and financial unknown and all of that. It's like, okay, bring it on. I will be okay. So I have more to say, but I think I should probably cap this. This gem is just going to be called Teachers. These are just some of my teachers, and I'll probably mention others in another video at some point, because goodness, they've been so incredibly valuable. Oh, excuse me, Deepak Chopra. Are you kidding? The interview that Oprah did with Deepak Chopra in India was just, it's on my TiVo to be saved, period. And I already was a fan of his. This was just really something, And lastly, just about Oprah Winfrey. I mean, this woman, I believe, fully walks the way she talks. And, you know, I'm really watching. I'm a psychotherapist. I observe people, and this woman walks the way she talks. I'm impressed. So, I hope you guys are having a great day. I don't know who subscribes to any of this for this part of what I do, or if they're wanting to see the animals, my little cute little dog, Handsome, or, you know, anyway. But I hope you're having a great day. Bye.